Vocabio. Master English your way.
In a globalized world, everything interlinks. And it's sad that only when...
Up with this very globalized economy, but these rickety, 1960s.
We were developing a globalized economy, a rules-based international order. There were these...
In, let's call it the globalized economy from the 1990s, the period that's taken to be globalized.
It was a very globalized period. The period before 1914 was the other great age of globalization.
Stock market, drive bond yields up, and essentially squeeze the U.S. economy to punish Americans broad.
Global crop yields for maize, corn, as early as 2030.
We've got periods when the bond yield goes up. That hasn't made U.S. more desirable.
With the private sector, but gets the yield back to our government, to our taxpayers.
And indeed, even if he doesn't, bond yields will start rising quite considerably, and that will affect...
reverse aging, or at least prolong a little bit. What if you cure cancer?
Studies with women who went through periods of prolonged famine during wars, for example. But the role of
Of course, there's a lot of interest at the moment in this intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting and aging and sort of the
growth in India for a prolonged period of time, and is generating
to continue and prolong their suffering, their agony, their indignity.
Say no to treatments that might extend your life. So although we hear a lot, oh, the public want this.
I might recall he extended his terms in office back in 2020.
The Unite the Right rally that August came after an extended period of soul-searching in Charlottesville.
Kind of extended family. I mean, the kind of islands and Denmarks and
That all having been said, I would like to extend my thanks again to our panel for coming here this evening.
A mistrust and ascribing all sorts of terrible things to them, which
Russian society, be it the Orange Revolution in Ukraine, he ascribed it to somebody's will, to somebody undermining
the value system that we ascribe to. At the moment, we're all in a lake.
There's a cliche. It's ascribed to Lenin. I don't think Lenin...
A really admirable job of resisting sort of ascribing identity politics to a particular area.
Even for the individual to rethink those patterns of consumption. So I think it's exciting and important.
Ahead, we'll also hear perspectives on how we can rethink what truly patient-centered care could mean in the
engagements with community. So I think we need to sort of, rethink that a little bit. I think CUNY has made a lot.
Ahmed, and today's topic is Rethinking the Grid, where we will be exploring the importance
jobs and workers are protected and rethink the way our business and employment models work.
Narratives. What might be ways in which we can reclaim the future?
Argue that the ways we reclaim them are similar as well. I know.
The time. We're constantly reclaiming them. So watch this space in 20 years' time.
For a really confident reclaiming of social democratic values, social democratic...
into consuming more. Reclaim your power as a sustainable consumer. I'm Kara Baytall for...
One thing we need to recognize about how closely intertwined we are is, so in traditional societies...
Very clear and right in this book was just how intertwined all of these things work. So the idea that...
How these countries, when they choose to intertwine, and how the region was created.
My first book, and I looked at the intertwined relationship between Islamist extreme...
subhumans. And those two things intertwined over so many centuries.
An edge really is going to be that discerning critical thinking. I think that the idea of working together
to ask people for help to kind of discern and analyze, but you have to be open to
caught in an enigma between trying to discern authorial purpose. What did the creator of this work mean? Are, I think, really difficult to discern.
Can we talk about the economic impact, and make sense of it and help you discern what's the lead into gold and what's the the gunpowder?
A really great hour
And just to remind you, if you didn't already avail of the Intelligence Squared book bundle, you can get a hand.
Right to be heard, to avail yourself of social resources, and to defend your own interests.
Yes, it's true. The people who avail themselves of an assisted death are usually quite sort of...
has for decades availed itself of an army of attorneys and spin doctors.
In a way of your choosing, and avail yourselves of entertainment options and
the sort of overview of him before we start delving into both his career, the path that got him to
yet more stress. So let's try and delve into this and understand it a bit better. And we're joined by...
On Thursday, we're delving into the history of the spy agency GCHQ.
To live while they're doing it. Okay, we could delve so deeply into all of these things, but let's move on. I want to pick up on
HG Capital. And we delved into the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and running your own business.
Might I be dreaming now? Might I be deluded? That was the heuristic device that Descartes used.
Climate change. They're not deluded to think net zero territorial carbon production targets.
Look, positive thinking is a good idea, but you can't delude yourself into believing that the situation is better than it is.
Well, I feel I have to delude myself, at least, to the point I have to think. I have to give.
That Putin believed. He was deeply deluded about many things and deeply misinformed about many things.
Or British Telecom or any British company to actually interfere with their tech.
A British referendum, a British election, there's allegations they've been interfered with. In
other words, they're not going to want to interfere here either. So, again, a pathway.
For this, I saw the value in not interfering with the passion of the exchanges, because that emotion in
and to avoid interfering with the sovereignty and independence of Ukraine.
Profitability. Profit, which then gets reinvested, becomes new.
And he's totally reinvented himself with some success as a top-level figure at Facebook.
How much of the money that they generate do they need to reinvest in the business to keep the business going? And
in funds, whether it's to keep score, to reinvest, to provide for your heirs, or even to play global
area, if you will, so that it could be reinvested into the solutions that particular.
We have now recently released that we have exceeded that outcome. We have saved $4.5 billion for the company.
Department EMS service in the United States, far exceeding fire incidents over there at about 1.3.
The world is over 1.5 degrees warmer. That doesn't mean we've exceeded the target. It's an average. So
price, it will exceed 1% of GDP as an impact effect. This is
willing to accept, accede to all forms of discriminatory practice.
And complex language, which has enabled all the varieties of BS that you write about in the book.
Mad. And enabled me to have some degree of detachment and perspectives.
Fire became a platform that enabled many things and many other inventions to be built on.
With a big interest in using technology to enable people to do their best work. And before Slack.
50-50 chance of being infected. That would have enabled us, if those had been able to go ahead, that would have...
Colossal trade war that basically implodes huge parts of world trade.
To May facing a Conservative Party imploding around me, Labour refusing to vote with the
point. There's nothing real. The price can implode at any minute. You are dependent on more and
in a fantasy that is imploding all around us.
Okay.
Well, let's say not so much Paradise Lost as Paradise possibly imploding, but we very much hope that we'll hold off from that in the next.
Businesses, though, many of trading, do orient themselves to the, then they have to say.
And, you know, there's one thing I love about this. It's results oriented every single day, and you get to have a ring and you get to go out.
Profoundly engaging questions. We care, orient the way we live.
But before we get there, I just want to orient our listeners a little bit. For those who haven't...
Seems to be the most consensus-oriented candidate at the moment. At the same time, there are...
We are going to professionally curate information, everything you need to know.
And appeared on stage at Wembley
and curated the left field at Glastonbury. He's the author of 3 non-fiction.
Because how could you possibly go about curating a show of the male nude without being a male nude yourself?
That there were humans curating it, as you say, there were humans deciding what goes on.
For me, and as kind of curated information from experts that I trust, and
roll London in there, and then she's coming back and asking, interrogating us on, why are we shown in this position and that position.
To be stronger than others, and therefore do you interrogate some areas and think, I'm not so sure of this?
How they were working. We weren't interrogating them properly. Oftentimes we were
interrogate their flaws themselves.
So I think it'd be good.
Very much. Let's start by interrogating the motion. What gives us the right to ask?
Vocabio, available in Google Play. Download, discover, improve your English.